Yeah, my name's John, and I'm from northern Michigan, and we've been up here for a long time. And um, I'm one of those guys that, like many golfers, has been struggling for years and years and years, and enjoying the game most of the time, but just not getting any better.
Can you kind of walk us through, what were some of the problems that you were facing back in the very beginning before you and I even, met each other?
Sure. After golfing as a kid, I didn't golf for a few decades because of work, and once I started again, rapidly got to a point where I'm a bogey golfer. I'm mid 80s most of the time, maybe worse, a little worse than that, maybe high 80s a lot, and it really didn't matter what I was doing. It just wasn't getting any better, and struggling with thinking that I should be able to do better. I mean, I always thought I was a decent athlete, but golf was just really telling me it's the unbeatable game for sure, and just not making progress. And like most golfers, I'm getting frustrated to the point where you wonder, is it even worth going out anymore? Because you're not seeing improvement. So I think that's where I was at the point, enjoying the game, enjoying being able to get out, but certainly frustrated by a lack of improvement in my game.
What was the result of implementing our program?
Well, this has been a really interesting journey. So I guess I've been with you, a little over a couple months now. And before I started, I was at the point where, I mean, I wouldn't even keep score in my game anymore. But I know I was shooting roughly mid 80s probably. And a month into the program, and I went back and looked at my statistics. Over the first month, I averaged an 80. That was my average score. Took all my scores up, added them up, divided by a certain number. It was 80, and that included a 73 that I had shot late in the month.
Hmm.
Um, at the end of the second month, my average was 75.
Wow.
Now, the extraordinary thing about that is because of the fact that I'm working in graduate school and some other commitments, I really didn't have a time to do any physical practice. If I did, it was only a few minutes at a time, and there was only a couple of occasions. So for the most part, I had no physical practice during that period, but I was spending some dedicated time to visualization and to implementing the program that I was going through in the zone.
Is really at the core of what we teach inside the program, which is psychoneuromuscular training. And that's exciting because that's one of the big things that kind of separates us apart from every other program out there, is the fact that you can still improve your games without actually physically practicing. And man, for you to go in 2 months' time, you said from mid 80s to now you have an average score of 75. And then
But
you just recently, I think you said you shot your new lifetime low round, if I'm not mistaken.
the
What was that
part
score?
part of the course shot a 71 here about 10 days ago, I guess it was, and and that was a bogey in the first hole, and picking up a birdie along the way, and even lipping out a couple putts along the way. But that was a pretty exciting day for me. Yeah,
How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
I'll be 70 in January.
Well, I think, for many people, um, they're probably bombarded with like emails. They see so many different programs out there. There's so many options, right? People could go and get drivers. They could go buy clubs. They could go buy training aids. They could go do these online, I don't know, membership programs, things like that. Why did you choose us specifically over the many other options out there that somebody could potentially choose?
Well, first of all, probably like I'm guessing probably like a lot of your students. Um, I did go the former way. I mean, I watched a lot of YouTube, and I and bought a lot of training aids, and for the most part, nothing changed. Um, I know from experience that things like imagination and visualization are important in success in so many different fields. And so when I got the email from you advertising this, I was intrigued. I'm I'm a single plane golfer, and I remember Mo Norman talking about visualization and imagination. And I thought, well, if it's good for one of the best ball strikers on the planet, maybe it'd be worth a try. And so I was looking forward to it, and I think I came in with a pretty positive attitude about it, especially based on stories that you made in your presentation. I was particularly struck by other professional athletes that use visualization, and especially struck by by a Vietnam veteran who was in prison and replayed around it. I think it was like Pebble Beach every day while he was imprisoned, and came out and shot as good golf as he did before he went in.
Yeah, that's a story that is it's so mind-boggling, but man, it is. It's an incredible story about Colonel Hall who did that. So, that's pretty amazing. So I'm curious. I mean, as a result of implementing the program, what would you say? How has it changed your life since going through it?
So the amazing part is that I have the same enjoyment going out and playing golf that I did, the first time I stepped on the course when I was, a third grader. Um, I don't care what it looks like. I'm just enjoying it. If I happen to hit a shot that isn't a good shot, it's still something I learned from, and because of the training I received, I can release it right away. It's just, "Oh, okay, well, let's go to the next one. Let's see how the next one's going to go." That just frees you up so much in the course. We've all seen the golf jokes of guys throwing their bags in the lake and then coming back sheepishly and digging them out, pulling out their car keys and throwing the bag back in the water. Um, this is universal for golfers, right? But I enjoy being out there. I enjoy every shot that I hit now. Every shot is a shot that belongs to me. And if it isn't as good as I want, it's okay. I release it. And when I get to the next one, I picture it going better, and it, as a rule, does.
Man, that's so huge. What you just stated is so critical because a lot of people they get so caught up on hitting a bad shot that it just sticks with them, and it'll just compound on each other, and it's just bad shot after bad shot after bad shot, and then before you know it, the train completely falls off the tracks. And I remember you saying like that was a huge turning point for you, especially when you shot your 71. You started with a bogey, but
Right.
you were able to put it past you and move on and still do very well for the rest of the round. So that's exciting.
During our training sessions that we've had, um, I've noticed too, like, especially after the first month working with you, your language totally changed.
Okay.
Totally changed, to, I'm curious now when let's say, because, golf is the game of not perfect.
Right.
And that shot comes up, what is your approach now with that difficult shot, that's coming up next? How do you approach that now versus
So
what way you did before?
the round that we just talked about, I bogeyed the first hole. I hit a wonderful tee shot, and my second shot towards the green was off a side hill lie, and I thought I'd played it right, but I must not have because it ended up on on the tee on the next hole. Right. I mean, I really got into it, so I'm left with a difficult shot underneath a tree and across the sand trap. And I'm like, I can do this. I just have to think about what my approach is instead of walk up and going, oh man, this is another double or triple bogey. Instead, it was a challenge. It's the game, and I'm not I'm not I'm not competing against the score. I'm just playing the game. What happens is going to happen. So I really didn't even feel bad about the shot, the second shot, which was not a good shot, but I didn't feel bad about it because I made good contact on it. And I thought, ooh, this is really nice. I'm not crazy about where it landed, but hey, it gives me an opportunity to play a shot I haven't played in a while. And I think that's the way it is all the time. Um, instead of looking at a shot and going, oh, that's a horrible shot, or looking at a good shot and going, well, hey, um, every broken clock's right twice a day. I'm like, yes, that was a good shot. You really celebrate those good shots. And thanks to you guys, there's more and more of those these days.
If there's anybody that's watching right now, and they're on the fence and they're still like contemplating, whether they should, work with us or not, what would you tell them?
Well, again, I'm an example of your average golfer that just wasn't improving. My experience and from others who I've talked to in your program is just consistent. Um, we do this, we imagine it, we find a love for the game again, and all of a sudden, the things that were holding us back mentally, and that's what holds golfers back. It's not the physical part, it's the mental part that holds you back. Once you get a handle on that, um, all of a sudden the game becomes a game to you again, a game that you enjoy, and not a challenge that you dread every time you face a difficult shot. You'll regain your childhood love for playing, and it's just totally worth it. What else can I say?
Yeah. I don't know how to capture that any better than what you just stated. I mean, John, what you just said right there, it was the very reason why I came back and did this again full time. Like I had a very similar story. Golf wasn't fun. Those of you that may not know my story, I stepped away from this game 6 years ago, was done with it forever. And then just meeting Shannon and how he changed my life and my game. It's so sweet and so joyful to get a response like you just stated, especially now that you're able to enjoy the game again, because that's our heart, that's our mission. Yes, we want people to improve their scores. We want to, do those kind of things, have fun. But really, what it's all about at the end of the day is people are having fun, they're enjoying the game, and more importantly, it's all about the relationships for us. So, John, thanks so much for taking time out and spending time with us today to kind of share your side of the story.
Well, I want to thank you and Shannon for restoring my love for the game again. And the best part of it is, like I said, this is the mental part, and I have work on the physical part. I know my scores are just going to go lower now, and it's thanks to you guys. So
Awesome.
kudos.
We know it's going to be a continued effect of that. So
Yeah,
we can't wait to see when you actually do shoot your age and possibly even below that. So
and I'm planning on it.
yeah. Well, keep up the good work, John. Thanks so much for hanging out with us and sharing that. I know it's going to help a lot of people. So can't thank you enough.
Yeah, you're welcome.